Okay, Dougie, we're getting ready to go live and testing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 16, 14, 17. And I really don't hear us. Okay. There we go. Yeah. There was a movie back in the 50s. It was called No Time for Sergeant, starring Andy Griffith.
I remember that movie.
You don't remember it live.
I growing up, I used to watch a lot of the old movies.
It was called No Time for Sergeant, starring Andy Griffith. And let's see if I can find my the Facebook page that I got, because I'm listening to us in a delayed section over here.
Yes, you are.
And then I will kill that. I did.
Yeah, you did. Excellent.
I find it and kill it. That's I know a lot of people think along those lines. But anyway, No Time for Sergeants. One of the things that was happening, Will, I forgot what his character name was. Anyway, Andy Griffith was testing the microphones on the radio, and he would spit into it.
What?
Because he couldn't get anybody to call and come back to him. Yeah. Hello. Good morning. I'm Rayford Brown.
And good morning. I'm Lee Barris.
And I think there's a young lady already watching this morning.
Yes, we have several people. Hi, Terry. Hey, Lise.
Hey, y'all. What y'all up to?
Elsie.
Anyway, yeah, Elsie's in there. Did I say Elise?
Yeah, and then I picked it up and said it.
Yeah,
so
well,
I'm sorry, Elsie.
I do that a lot. How was your weekend?
Very nice. It started off Friday night.
Cold.
Let's talk about Friday night.
We will talk about Friday night.
Yes.
Jacksonville's still in the game.
Yes.
Jacksonville played really hard for one quarter. And then they didn't need to play anymore.
I think it was the third quarter before they were actually ever on their into the zone.
Oh, wow. Something like that.
It was.
Yeah, Jacksonville High, they met West Carteret in Jacksonville. And thank you for that. We didn't have to drive all the way to West Carteret. And here's the way it started out. So this is the way this whole deal.
Tell the first. Yes.
Yep. Okay, so Jacksonville.
Third play of the game.
Jacksonville, it's the only team that I've ever followed that on a regular basis. If they win the toss, they elect to kick off.
Right.
They elect to kick off, and then, and so the other team gets to get it. Most people want. I'd like to talk to somebody who's smart about football like that. So what is the mentality there? But it works for them.
Right.
Because I guess they get the jitters out while they're playing defense instead of trying to be offensive. And anyway, whatever works, it works. So they kicked off, and West Carteret gets the ball, and they try 3 times to make some headway, and they didn't. Deep inside their turf, way deep inside their turf. So it was fourth down and whatever. So they had to kick, or they chose to kick, which was the smart thing to do. Except didn't turn out so good. 11 minutes and 2 seconds left on the board, and Jacksonville blocks their punt, recovers the football that goes bouncing around on the ground,
and ran it in,
and then walked it in, basically.
Yeah, the whole game was like that.
I forget which gentleman was it anyway. One of the guys, he just grabbed it and sort of strode
Sprinted over.
Yeah, then it was with 11 minutes and 2 seconds in the first quarter left out of a 12-minute quarter. They were up 7-0. It didn't get any better for the.
I will say, and then we've noticed the last several games, Jacksonville's passing has improved.
Oh my God, yes.
Their
First of the year, they couldn't hit anything.
Yes, their kicking has improved greatly. There was less penalty flags thrown.
Yeah.
In the last couple games than there had been in one game only. I mean, it was just like some of the games we watched early in the season. It was like every single play was
every
yellow flag.
Every one of the officials on several occasions, it looked like there were hankies all over the turf, as they used to say.
I was like, not only one, everybody was throwing a yellow flag.
Yeah,
I mean, everybody's waving yellow flags. Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. But yeah, they did excellent. Kudos to Jacksonville. West Carteret, very good sports.
Yeah, end of the first quarter, it's 40-0.
Yes.
So Jacksonville kind of let some other folks play that don't normally get out there to play. They were commanding the ball game. I mean, they were in charge. Right?
And the second half, because of the score, I think it's once it reaches 42-0, then
there's something called mercy.
Yes.
I don't know if that's an official thing or whatever happens, but during the second half, the clock did not stop even when the passes were not caught,
right?
Or even when the player would run out of bounds.
There was no stopping.
Ran fast.
It was a fast second quarter.
So
it was
48 minutes of playing time, about 24 minutes of playing time in the second half, and I think the clock ran for pretty much 12 minutes without too much of a halt.
Well, we're tied we have a first place tie going with Havelock, Jacksonville, and New Bern. Yeah. Havelock won 63-15. They played Westover. Mm-hmm. New Bern won 59-27 against
So they're a high-scoring team. So our defensive team really needs to be on the ball. That's what you're saying.
Other schools, Richland 7, Rocky Mount 24, so that knocks Richlands out now. White Oak High School 31.
That was a shame.
Lee County 34, and I want to hear what Chris Miller's got to say about that game. He was there, and that game went back and forth. That had to be a nerve-wracking
I think White Oak was up in the beginning.
Yeah, well, I think
the first score I heard.
It went back and forth, back and forth.
It was a fun time.
So hoping they'd pull it out.
And I about froze my feet off.
Yeah,
while you and Robbie were sitting there under blankets.
We might have had a blanket.
It was the might have was guaranteed. I was there, and a lot of other witnesses were there to watch the two of them huddled under a blanket.
Well, I almost brought one. I was like, no, but she's so smart. She's like nurse in the crowd. She's prepared for everything.
Next time I sit in the middle, y'all can be the windbreaks.
It was a good crowd.
It was a great crowd.
It was a good game.
I was not going to leave. I mean, a lot of folks get up, and the score was one and done. All right, we knew what it was going, what was going to be, and even if West Carteret had come up with some kind of a rally, and it wasn't going to happen. Jacksonville even started taking a knee in the last quarter.
In the last quarter,
with 5 minutes to go, they get a ball, and the clock's going to be running, so they just take a knee and run out the entire 30-second period.
Right.
And then
give it to West Carteret and let Carteret make their play.
And see what they can do. And they made some good plays.
Yes, they did.
Because we weren't out there to try to interfere with them too much. But, but it gave our defensive team a lot of practice, which is good.
Did you notice where we usually see, 25, 30 players? There must have been 50. I mean, they brought everybody out.
I did not know we had that many who could dress out.
There was so many.
I mean, that should have scared me.
Congratulations to the Cardinals and White Oak and Richlands. Good job this year.
Yep.
Good job.
Yeah,
we're very proud of you.
You made it into the playoffs. I mean, good God, guys, you got nothing to be ashamed of. So that was good. And the way I saw White Oak play against Jacksonville early in the season, I was like, ruh-roh.
And we were biting our nails. We were pacing. We were up and down the bleachers.
They came out swinging, and they didn't let up either.
Man, that was a game. But this one on Friday night, I'm sure that when we talk to Chris later in the week, he can tell. I bet he was just like, whew.
Yeah, now we got to know, we understand we got to go out of town
Burlington
Friday night. That's
Williams High
I know
School.
somebody up there.
Oh, Dr. Rose.
Oh, if nothing else, we'll send her to be our spy. What do you think?
Yes.
We'll have her go watch the game for us.
Dr. Rose.
And,
Awesome
okay, we're going to
company Friday.
Burlington, but who are we playing?
Williams High School.
Who is that? Is that in Burlington?
Yes.
Okay.
And they have a very good record. I was
I'm
looking
sure they
at their
make the playoffs.
stats,
They
and
should
they're
have one.
pretty much just parallel with Jacksonville. So
Okay.
we'll see.
Okay, guys. So Friday night's coming, so we'll be talking about that this week as well with
Yes.
Chris Miller, somebody who's got the smarts. Chris is the Jacksonville Daily News sports editor, so we know all about how good he is because he does a great job.
Yes, he does.
Their photographer was there Friday night.
John Eldhouse.
So when I saw John out there, I said, okay, Chris is not coming. So they had to sort of top photog out there to get
Chris was
pictures.
at the game to be. Whew.
Yeah, it was a tough game. This date, the year was 1978. Where were you? What were you doing on this date, 1978?
Working.
Mm-hmm.
Working.
Guy named Jim Jones. We had a Jim Jones here in Jacksonville at the time. He was a doctor. There was a guy down there. He called himself the founder of the People's Temple in a little South American country called Guyana. At that time, I think I had heard about it, of Guyana, because, being in ham radio, I had a big old world map up there. And every time I talked to somebody anywhere in the world, I was always looking on the map to see where that place was. That's how I learned so much about geography before I ever got to a geography class. But anyway, he had a whole bunch of followers with him, people who had dropped out from society or whatever you want to say. They thought they saw a better way, lived in somewhat of a commune area, what they called an agricultural commune. They grew their own stuff. You know what? Maybe that's what I got going back here, but no.
I had a lot of agricultural stuff growing in my backyard. It's unidentifiable,
weeds.
but
anyway, they got down there, and a congressman from, I forgot which town it was or state it was, he flew down with an ABC photographer and a reporter, ABC News, because they had gotten word that this whole commune thing was a bunch of crazies, loonies down there. And
was it Leo Ryan, U.S. Representative Leo Ryan?
Anyway, they get there and landed, saw video, and one of the most chilling things, I worked at an ABC affiliate at the time, and one of the most chilling things were the scenes and the video that was shown, not of the suicide that followed,
right?
But when they landed, they were attacked
and murdered.
And he's shooting. And the camera, the last thing you see on the camera is just laying on the ground with the video still rolling.
Oh my gosh.
And that was sent to all of the affiliates to be used.
Did they play that?
Oh, yeah, they played it. We played it. We'll play
I know these days they would play it.
They played it. And then, they sent more teams in. Everybody was swarmed to place. Wow. And when they got there with federal agents and whatever, they found all these bodies. And some of them had been murdered because they weren't drinking the Kool-Aid. Final death toll, 909. A third of those were kids.
Yes.
300 children.
Oh, it's so sad. So sad. Wasn't that the People's Temple?
People's Temple, a Christian sect, they called it. Jim Jones was what described as a charismatic. Whew. I had to look away from that word. Charismatic churchman who established the People's Temple up in Indianapolis back in the 1950s. He preached against racism, and his integrated congregation attracted many African Americans. In 1965, he moved the group to Northern California, settling in Ukiah, and after 1971 in San Francisco. Okay. In the 70s, his church was accused by the media of financial fraud, physical abuse of its members, and mistreatment of children. No kidding. In response to the criticism, the increasingly paranoid Jones invited his congregation to move with him to Guyana, where he promised they would build a socialist utopia. 3 years later, a small group of his followers had traveled to the tiny nation to set up what would become Jonestown on a tract of jungle. Wasn't the paradise that they thought it was going to be.
Well, do you know that more than 400 bodies from that were unidentified? Well, they were unclaimed, and they're
Yes.
buried in a cemetery in Oakland, California. Unclaimed. That's sad.
Yeah, the Congressman Leo Ryan was from California. He had gotten complaints from constituents from the area, so he went there. He
Yeah.
As they were getting ready to leave, went pretty well. He stayed overnight. They were getting ready to leave with the journalists and some other people. Several Jonestown residents approached the group and asked them for passage out of Guyana. Jones became distressed at the defection of his followers. They had a bunch of people wanted to go leave there with the congressman. Didn't have enough room in that small plane.
Shot him down.
One of Jones' lieutenants attacked Ryan with a knife. The congressman escaped from the incident unharmed, but Jones then ordered Ryan and his companions ambushed and killed at the airstrip as they attempted to leave. Ryan and 4 others were murdered as they boarded their charter planes.
Wow, that I'll never forget that story. And then all the movies that came out.
I got some photos up there from the National Press Photographers Association. If you ever want to see the book.
Oh, there's some really true to life photos. Explicit, so to say.
They shot by journalists who went down there in mass. Okie dokie. So anyway, that's how things are going back down there in Jonestown.
He was
1978.
Well, he'd become addicted to drugs. And
he was a druggie. Yeah, of course. Paranoia, drugs go hand in hand, folks.
Right.
The rain forecast for the beginning of this week, is brought to you by Community Prevention Services of Jacksonville. We hear a lot about stress. We talk about it. We read about it. Some of us experience stress. I think everybody experiences stress at one time or another. The general diagnosis of stress is wide-ranging. It doesn't affect all of us the same way. As it is with most any issue, if you're experiencing the signs or symptoms of stress, you need to find out what's causing it. In some short-term stressful situations, that's usually pretty simple. You didn't have the issue a couple of days ago, something happened, you suddenly were besides yourself, wondering what you were going to do to overcome whatever circumstances were causing concern. That usually is fairly easy to diagnose, even by yourself. You can put 2 and 2 together and say, you know what, I need to fix that and don't do that anymore. Long-term stress develops and worsens over time. You might not identify it at first. It may be something just happens and then, it bugs you a little bit. You lose a little bit of sleep. You self-medicate a little bit here and there. Okay, I just need to get some rest, so let me take the sleeping pill or whatever. There may not be a single situation that causes the symptoms you're dealing with. There may be more than one, as it turns out. You might not even be able to put your finger on a single issue. Sometimes there may be one problem after another, a snowball effect, with the end result of not knowing what to tackle first. When you're trying to drain the swamp, it's really tough to do so when the alligators are biting at your backside. You're not alone in this. It's not as uncommon as you might think. It's likely time to reach out to help you get some help to help you handle the stress first. Help is available, and it's right here in Jacksonville. Community Prevention Services has counselors who really want to help people with their issues. While they may not be able to provide solutions to completely eliminate your problems, they can help you work through the effects those problems are having with you. Chances are, once you can learn to cope with the effects, you'll be able, with the assistance of your counselor, to work on ways to correct or eliminate, in some cases, those problems. Community Prevention Services of Jacksonville. They're located at 918 Henderson Drive. Call today to set up an appointment. No need to put it off any longer. 910-353-0972. That's 910-353-0972. Offshore for the first part of this week, much better than last week for sure. Westerly winds 10 to 15 knots today, seas only 2 to 3 feet. 3-foot waves from the southwest every 4 seconds. A little choppy in the inlets, sounds and rivers, a moderate chop. Tomorrow, northwesterly winds only about 5 knots, becoming westerly in the afternoon, seas 2 feet. Last week at this time, we were talking about 9-footers.
Oh, yes.
Tomorrow, 2-footers. Sounds and rivers flat, increasing to a light chop in the afternoon. Wednesday, southwesterly winds 5 to 10 knots, increasing to 10 to 15 in the afternoon. Seas 2 to 3 feet. Sounds and rivers a light chop, increasing to a moderate chop in the afternoon.
And today will be mostly sunny with a high near 72. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 45. Tuesday, patchy fog before 9 a.m., partly sunny with a high near 71. And Wednesday, a 50% chance of showers, mostly cloudy with a high near 70. Now, you were talking about offshore.
Yeah.
And I know that you probably didn't see it yesterday. There was a lot of pictures coming in from North Topsail. What, beach erosion?
Yep.
It looked bad. But over the weekend, we did lose another house in Rodanthe. And there's about 3 or 4 more that give it some time.
They're not going to have a whole lot left on that one block.
No.
There have been any number of blocks that were front row seats to the ocean.
Yes.
The second row of homes is now front row seat to the ocean because down in Ocean Isle Beach area, they've lost the entire block.
Right.
The whole front row is gone.
Wow.
Over the decades.
Well, it's pretty bad there. I have a friend of mine who lives right there, and he goes out and takes videos. And
has he got a boathouse?
No, he doesn't live right on the shore, right on the beach itself. But he goes out there quite frequently, and he takes videos and has even taken some of the houses collapsing into the water and floating away. But you go out there, and I mean, there's like septic tanks laying up on the ground. Look like coffins.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to check them. Might be.
Well, we don't know for sure. Okay. So what we're going to tell you here is nothing but social media stuff, with the exception of a warning from the Oslo Sheriff's Office yesterday about near the intersection of Highway 24, NC 24,
and 172,
and 172 there at Hubert.
Right.
Take another route because it was a mess.
Right.
One motorcycle involved, one or more motorcycles. I don't know. A motorcycle was involved.
I heard it was a moped. Cannot confirm.
A two-wheeled vehicle with a motor on it of some sort or another was supposedly involved in a wreck. Don't know what occurred, except it was not pretty. I don't know. I'm not going to repeat any of the social media stuff because I know those people are driving by and they see this and see that. I've been to enough things where witnesses would tell me this and this and this. They were not witnesses.
Everyone's got a different view.
Yeah.
Well, the sheriff's office had put out a post asking people to avoid the area and to take alternate routes.
That's what we know.
We posted that. I know that area stayed pretty backed up for several hours or more. So don't know exactly. As soon as we get confirmation as to the facts of it, we'll put it out. But Rayford, I was thinking over the last couple months, there has been a lot.
And a lot of wrecks.
Yes, involving motorcycles.
Yes.
A lot.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure. I can't blame everything on a motorcycle driver, okay? Because I see cars pull out directly in front of a motorcycle. I hear bikers all the time talking about, they have to drive defensively. They should drive defensively because they don't know what that other guy is going to do. Same thing that cars should be driving defensively for. Right. Let's just step it up a notch. Not all, as we've got a really good friend who's a big rig driver, right?
Right.
He drives trucks. He's a safe driver.
Yes.
Of the drivers driving those 18-wheelers, I mean, they decide I'm bigger than you are, and they will pull out.
Right.
It's up to you to drive defensively, to lock up your brakes or do whatever you got to do to avoid a collision.
Well, look what happened in Duplin County.
Yeah. And then you've got, but then the same token, when you step it down, you've got motorcycles or two-wheelers with no protection. They become the four-wheelers out there when there is a big four-wheeler involved.
Right.
So Motorcycle guys, they do everything they can to avoid. Now that doesn't mean that I'm not saying bikers, and I really would. I know that if I had that badge and the stuff again, the blue lights, I'd be in an unmarked vehicle, pickup truck preferably, because I got two pet peeves. One of them is going to be there on the bypass in Jacksonville. That entire stretch where it says 60 miles an hour, that does not mean 75. And
I try to avoid it.
And for bikers to be weaving in and out of traffic, well, you just don't know and they're running 75 miles an hour because having been radar certified, you can do a pretty good estimate.
Right.
Stays with you forever about what the other vehicle is running. Running at 75 miles an hour or faster and gunning it hard to get around and between the cars, you're causing confusion for the drivers of the other vehicles. Yes, they should be moving to the right, but when they're already running 60 miles an hour, you've got no real reason that you have to pass them. None.
Right.
Because you have to violate the law to pass them if they're running 60 miles an hour. So don't. Just back off. It ain't that long. 2 minutes, 3 minutes at the most to get across and out of that bypass onto US 17 moving south or to the Richlands Highway going that way.
Well, I will tell you something. That bypass coming from Lejeune over to 17 south, whichever way.
The speedway. It's not a bypass.
Yes, but you know what? That is some of the most beautiful area. Crossing over the New River.
I'm afraid to look that way.
It is beautiful, but you're right. It's like a speedway.
It is. And
I try to avoid it.
Well, I use it because I like it, but good gracious, you have to drive defensively.
Yes, in this town everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, extremely defensively. And it's not just this town. You've been to Wilmington lately? I was there last week, and I'm like, holy moly. Why? I'm trying to get the reason that I have to go to Wilmington every month to move or set up an office at least close to Jacksonville, this side of Hempstead.
Yes.
Anywhere this side of Hempstead, on the north side of Hempstead would be fine. Come on, bypass.
On any given weekend in Jacksonville, Western Boulevard is backed up from a wreck.
Yeah, last weekend they had the one out there. I don't even know how much was involved, except traffic was horrendously backed up. Had two different ones, I believe, maybe three.
Yes, two different. Well, I know at least two.
But they had blue lights in three different locations. I know that. So whatever's. Okay, a Jacksonville man sentenced to 9 years in prison for armed drug trafficking. Armed drug trafficking after he was found in his car in Jacksonville with his child. A loaded gun and a load of dope.
9 years is not enough, in my opinion. Not having a child having a child in this vehicle?
2 months ago, 24-year-old Antoine Hatchell pleaded guilty to possession with the intent to distribute cocaine base and possession of a firearm in furtherance of a drug trafficking crime and sentenced to 108 months in prison. Jacksonville Police Chief Jared Phelps told the Jacksonville Daily News that Hatchell is clearly a dangerous individual. Not only did he put his own 2-month-old child in danger, but he was intent to do harm within our community through the trafficking of illegal substances. Hatchell was caught with the illegal drugs and guns 4 consecutive times in 9 months. Do we see a pattern here that needs to be fixed?
No, wait a minute. You said he was caught?
He was
that
caught.
Many times?
Yeah. In November 2022, 2 years ago, he was found in the car with his 2-month-old child, a loaded 9mm handgun with a high-capacity magazine, methamphetamine, cocaine, and marijuana hidden in a diaper bag.
9 years is not enough. I'm just saying, my opinion.
In February and July of 2023, he was found asleep in a running vehicle, each time with a loaded gun and multiple types of controlled substances. On a separate occasion in July, he was pulled over and found with a loaded AR-15 style of pistol. It's classified as a handgun.
Wow.
With a large capacity magazine, typically 30-rounder, and red dot optic as a sight, a loaded 9mm handgun, 17 grams of fentanyl, 13 grams of cocaine base, and other contraband. Jacksonville Police and Onslow County Sheriff's Office investigated, and the case was prosecuted in federal court. Okay, let's see. We still have a caller. Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning, Rayford and Lee.
Hello, Chris.
Happy Monday.
Well, happy
I'm good.
Monday. You
I'm good.
snuck that one by me.
Yeah, got to tell you, first off, congratulations to the Cardinals.
Yeah, go Cards.
Good job. Go Cards. Man, long bus ride coming up for us Friday night.
We need to charter a bus.
Yeah, I heard
sure
there's
they
going to
will.
be a couple.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, I heard there's supposed to be
Maybe
a
we
couple.
can get a
charter
ride.
buses. Of course you can.
Well, I mean, what if the driver wants a break? I can drive that bus.
I
There you
could.
go.
It's like a school bus.
Yeah,
I drove one of those for a couple of years.
I used to drive
That's
a
a long ride
two-ton.
up, so.
Yes.
Yeah, Rayford, you take half. Lee, you take a third, and let the
Whee!
and more a fun ride going home.
A solo bus coming home. Yeah,
Yes.
there you go.
Yes.
Just don't break out the Kool-Aid.
We'll be stomping at every Waffle House on the way home.
I want to mention something from Friday's show, and thank you again for letting me be on there. I met Theo.
Yes.
You remember he said, meet me at Piggly Wiggly at 1 o'clock, so I got there on time.
What a gentleman.
What a nice, I know we see different on politics, that's fine.
That doesn't
But
care.
what a nice guy. I pull up. He's standing next to the Salvation Army bell ringer. And I said, Theo? He goes, Chris, park your car. Come on, let's go in and have some breakfast.
That's Theo.
Yes.
That's Theo. And then what a generous contribution to Reese Across America.
Yeah, he's a
Nice.
man. He's a man.
He is a very giving soul.
He is. And some people I talked to over the weekend who listened to the show. And I was telling him, let me tell you something about Theo. He on the radio, he comes across with his honest opinions on his political. I said, politics aside, you're not going to find a more generous, nicer man
Or genuine.
That's right.
or genuine than Theo. I mean, invite me in for breakfast, which we're going to do it because he lives near Richmond, as I do. But I had another commitment. But come on in, let's go have some breakfast. and he had folks. He has an American flag hat on.
He's
Yeah.
an
The guy
American.
is.
He's a
American.
patriot. He's a
Oh,
patriot.
He's an American born.
And you're right, Chris. A lot of people are like, oh, why do you let Theo call? Well, it's just like you said. We allow people to call with their opinion.
Uh-huh.
And Theo has his opinions. We have ours. And I respect his opinion highly. And for those of you that don't know Theo, he is one heck of a guy. And first time I ever met him, I was surprised because, you envision things in your head, how somebody's going to look.
Young with
Yeah,
horns
a
coming
little
out.
teeny guy, or something like that. No, Theo's a nice looking man. He's got a personality of gold. So, I mean, we just think the world of him here.
Well, on my thank you book page for those that donate to Reese Across America, I put live and local real talk, my friend Theo.
Oh, that's nice.
My friend Theo.
Yes, Theo's a great guy. And like all the ones that call, Steve and Mike, and I know a lot of listeners get, they call and they're like, well, I don't like what he said.
I'm sorry.
Let me tell you what, great people though. Great people. Steve's a
They
great
are.
guy. Mike's a great guy. So we can't
Great,
have
Lee.
everybody calling that's going to agree with us.
I don't want it.
No, we like the challenge.
What kind of talk show would it be if we all called in and went, I agree?
Boring.
Yes.
Yeah,
Snoozer.
we've had where we've been on maybe the opposite sides of an issue, but we're still friends. We all have our opinions, and that's what makes talk radio what it is.
That's right.
Get out there, be able to express your opinion and listen to the other person's opinion, and then be friends at the end of the day.
Exactly.
You're leading into my commentary.
Yes.
Okay, well, I won't keep you too much longer, so you
So
can go to
was it-
commentary.
What's your count right
Yeah.
now? What's it looking like, Chris?
Well, I'm happy to say that our group, the ones that you contributed to, many others have, we're up to a little over 250, which is,
Excellent.
believe it or not, 18% of the total wreaths for the cemetery.
Wow.
Which, you know, it's good and bad. The good is I'm proud and thankful for the people that have donated to our group. But we're still very short. And so tonight, Commissioner Knapp said, yes, Chris, great idea. Come in here, talk. We talked about this on Friday.
Right.
So I realize that there's many people, many businesses, because I'm going to be hitting them, to speak to the commissioners and just get the message out via the county commissioners' board meetings, which a lot of people listen to. And hopefully that'll generate some more, because we're getting about 2 to 3 weeks away from the deadline to order.
Well, I told you about that one organization I talked to, and tomorrow night's their meeting, and they will approve that and decide on the amount.
Yeah.
So, and then I have a couple more names for you too.
Thank you. How wonderful. And I got to say, I'll be out there today, because today is a bittersweet day. It's the second year anniversary that my father passed away.
Right.
He's in the Veterans Cemetery.
Yes.
And I'm going to celebrate by going out there.
Good.
But as I've told other people, go out and watch this ceremony. Go and volunteer to put wreaths on grave sites, even if you don't know them.
Right.
And next year, I guarantee you, people will do it. Rayford, I had to borrow your story from Friday's show.
Good.
Yesterday I was doing breakfast for our church for about 8 hours, and I used your story many times about shopping, or $34, $17. We blow that on things we don't need,
Right.
things maybe whatever, but it really got some people's heads to turn when I mentioned your story. So thank you for your analogy of what $34 really amounts
It's
to.
a drop in the bucket for virtually everybody in Onslow County. Not
Right.
everybody, but for virtually everybody in Onslow County that's going shopping for Thanksgiving, going shopping for Christmas. I mean, if you had intended to give me a Christmas present, don't.
Oh, that reminds me of another story
Don't.
after this.
Just go to Chris's website, his Facebook site. We got it up on our
That's
site.
right. And I'll keep
We'll
running
keep
it.
running it. But go there. Take anything that you were going to give me on other people too. If you were going to give Lee something, don't give it to her. Give her, put this in her name, or just send it to her. Just take the
Right.
money and give it to this purpose.
Right. I would
This
rather
year,
that.
we got a lot to get done here
Right.
between now and December. Okay, we got just a couple of weeks left, y'all.
That's right.
Yeah,
December
and Rick,
3rd.
Good, Lee. Yeah,
December 3rd is the last day to order them for
those
this
trucks will
area.
Start rolling.
Right.
Yeah, those trucks will start rolling. And Rayford, great point, because I often get asked by my family, what do you want for your birthday?
Nothing.
It happens in December. Nothing. What do you
Donate
want
a
for Christmas?
wreath.
Nothing. Now I'm
Right.
going to say, donate a wreath.
That's right.
That's what
That's
I
it.
want. That's what I want.
I want a wreath.
Great
I
idea.
want 2 wreaths. I can get you a bonus. 3 for the price of 2.
There you go.
Yes.
Perfect. You
Yes.
too. Thanks so much
All right.
again for everything. Hope you enjoyed the cookies, and
I
we'll talk
did.
later.
And my wife stole a few.
Yeah, most of them were gone before I even got home.
I didn't do it.
No.
I had mine in the
Well-
studio here after I left, after I had mine Friday. And then
Yes.
I came back in a little while, and they were suddenly in the other end of the house. I don't know how they got there.
I
didn't
bet
know
they
this.
tasted good with that hot chocolate we had at the ball
They
game
did.
Friday night.
Well, they did.
I'll be
Kudos.
delivering.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be delivering some more to people today, and of course I'll bring you some more. And Rayford, don't worry, I got your wood covered.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thanks,
you have a
Chris.
blessed
Thank you, sir.
day.
You
Just
too,
to
Chris.
remember
Take care.
now to call us and keep us reminded about the reef, so all our listeners can be reminded also.
Well, keep pushing it.
Yes, we're going to
I
keep
will
pushing.
do that, and thank you thank you, Lee, for contacting National and having them on the radio as well.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Last Friday.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
Thanks, Chris.
Have a blessed day, you too.
Chris Marks there. He's talking about a great American, great citizen, great person to have in our community. Wow.
Yes.
Y'all cannot have him. We got him. All right.
I said I wanted to bring something up real quick.
You better hurry.
Let me tell you
what I
what.
do. It's going to be over.
I went grocery shopping yesterday.
Oh, now you've done it.
I got a 22.5-pound turkey for $6 and
You
some
gonna marry him?
change.
When he grows up.
Yeah, I've been there, done that. Just kidding. No, but there's one of the stores here in town that with a $35 food order, you can get turkeys for 29 cents a pan. And look, I got the biggest one that was in that box.
But I got one last week, but I didn't get the biggest one because I don't need the big one. I'm going to deep fry this sucker. And I usually like anywhere from a 12 to 15 pounder. I can do a 20 pounder.
Good.
I got a big pot, but I don't want to.
So good. No, mine's going to go into my new oven that I hope to install today.
That involves electricity, doesn't it?
I'm good. I know to turn it off at the box. The hardest part is going to be putting up.
Plug it in, isn't it?
Yeah, but I've got to wire the plug on.
Oh, you don't have a plug?
Well, they don't come with a plug.
It comes with, but you got an outlet at your.
Yes.
Well, you don't have to turn the power off when you put it on your stove.
I know that, but I've got to turn the power off because I'm changing out the range hood.
Okay.
And that has to be wired. And I know
it should not be on the same circuit. But anyway,
they are. Some of you brave souls will sit there and wire it without cutting it off. Me, I cut them off. I cut everything
off. It still
off.
shouldn't be on the same circuit as the 240 volt.
Look, I know I'll hit a switch and everything will go off in the kitchen.
Here's the way you find out what the circuit is. Get yourself a piece of number 12 wire.
No.
And carve up, take the insulation off both ends and take it and stick it in the plug. And it will pop that circuit breaker every time. And then you don't have to worry about it.
I just turn everything on, then go hit the switch that said stove and come back in. And if it's off, I know I'm good.
Well, you check the
range.
And
the same thing with the range. Look, I am now.
Okay, so you got that. Everything good?
That come in tomorrow with an afro, you'll know it went wrong.
All right, it's my turn.
All right, go ahead.
Let's see if I can stir up a bunch of mess today. What do you think?
Hey, it's Monday.
I like controversy, not because I like fights, but because not anymore, but because I like hearing different points of view.
Right.
For me, I'm complicated. Some of you are cut and dried, seeing you claim as either conservative or liberal. You're hard-headed. Until you start taking some of those online Q&A questionnaires, that is, the good ones, the really good ones, those questionnaire things you find will present questions that don't hint what answer they're looking for. The others, well, they're disgustingly obvious. They know. If you stop beating your wife, how do you answer that question? Yes, well, that you just admitted that you have been beating your wife. No, well, then that means you're still beating your wife. That's how some of the questions are asked in all sorts of questionnaires online. For me, I call myself a conservative. I'm not rabid about much, but I can become pretty left-listing, not leaning, when the government wants to walk all over my rights. Not the ones that I make up, not the rights that I make up. I'm not a sovereign citizen, and neither are you. You can claim whatever you want. This is a nation of laws and rules that we must follow or pay the consequences. I can become downright obnoxious when an ill-informed individual, regardless of the powers entrusted in him, wants to force his homebrew laws on me. I'd like to hear from y'all. What are some things that are ticking you off today? You can forget about who won or lost the election right now. Forget about that. Not a thing you can do if you still think Trump didn't lose in 2020. He lost in 2020. He lost the election in 2020. He did. And that's that. It's over.
Well, evidenced by the fact that we've had a different president for the last 4 years.
By the same token, analyze the 2024 election to death if you want to. Trump won. Harris lost. Now what? Are you planning to become one of those versions of the right-wing deny everything crowd from 2020? You'll waste 4 more years of your life if you do. Don't you have anything else better to do?
I do.
I'll get started to give you a chance to get your motor running and to gather your wits and your thoughts. How about something all of us tend to agree on, but for different reasons? A part of society that many credit with dividing America even more than the two primary political parties. Are you ready for my rant?
Go right ahead.
I find it rewarding and amusing to look at the different interpretations of news-making events today.
Oh,
I feel privileged that we have network news entities who say they are fair and impartial, or are the most trusted name in news, or are America's number one news source, or this is who we are, or simply, this is CBS. That's 5 different news outlets. That's what their slogans are. Makes you want to watch at least 5 news operations at the same time to make sure you don't miss something. That would be okay because you're likely to get 5 different takes on the same misnamed breaking news stories of the day. That's something else is also a pet peeve.
yes.
Not every story is breaking news.
Yes.
When you read it and it's 3 days old, it's not breaking news. Once was back in the day, there were 3 national news operations on TV. There was ABC, CBS, and NBC. Those are in alphabetical order, by the way. I didn't pick one over the other. If you were a junkie or you were LBJ, do y'all know who LBJ was?
Yes.
Lyndon Baines Johnson, President of the United States, or you were Elvis, you could watch all 3. Short story, at Graceland, on my first visit there many years ago, there were 3 1960 vintage TV sets in the living room on display. Vintage. They were 60s models. Elvis was asked why he had 3. His response, if Lyndon Johnson can have 3 sets so he can watch all 3 network news programs at the same time, I could have 3 sets.
Make me
So
crazy.
he put 3 sets in there.
Right.
The truth was, unless one network or another had uncovered a major, and I mean earth-shattering event that no one else had and had managed to keep it under wraps, the evening news generally matched each other for the stories covered, the order those stories were reported, and not a lot of difference in the content of those stories. Maybe the final story of the day, a kicker piece they're called, a cute story from different parts of the country, was different than the other networks. The main news of the day, the only difference was the delivery, along with the likability and the trustworthiness of the individual network news anchors. In that respect, back in the day, Walter Cronkite won hands down. He was literally the most trusted man in America. Today, and perhaps since the birth of the 24-hour news cycle, itself a lie, things have changed. Each network tries to develop its own style, which is okay. But when it actually shapes the stories that are covered, with the facts being in the eye of the producers and other news managers, and worse, in some cases, the conglomerate owners of the networks themselves who have no idea what's news, the real and honest content of those news stories are and white. You got the same set of facts. What comes out of the boob tube? Different stories. You have no idea what the facts are.
Well, I told you yesterday morning I had the news on, and I've gotten to where I watch Spectrum News now because I just can't handle some of the other local stations anymore. And so it was 8:00 time for ABC News to come on Sunday morning. The first 5 minutes, it was nothing but negativity about Trump, about who he picked. And I'm like, can you not say anything nice at all? And I've noticed that CBS, NBC, and ABC, it's just everything is negative, a
Fox
negative
News
viewpoint.
and CNN are the same way.
Yes. And so, well, I don't watch CNN anyway. And I watch
I do.
Fox News, but not that often. I told you I watch a lot of independent news media that's on YouTube because they aren't giving biased opinions. They're just
I
putting
have
it out
no idea
there.
what their credentials are.
Yeah,
You've got to
true.
understand that.
But what I'm saying is they take news stories and they put facts out there and they don't offer opinions. And I like to watch that. Like if you have breaking news, something happening they're on there and they're giving that news. But one in particular, he will not put something on there unless he's got it fact-based. So I'm just tired of the national news media with all their opinions.
Just
Tired
give
of
this
it.
some thought. The different versions of the events we call news mirrors real life today. Within your family, I guarantee you it's doubtful that everyone sees everything the same way. If you've ever been in a
Right.
courtroom during a criminal trial or driven by a wreck, you're certainly going to see different versions of the same event.
Exactly.
Even real honest to goodness eyewitnesses often disagree on details. Every cop and every district attorney have experienced times when witness number one saw a man wearing a green coat running from the bank that just got robbed. He had a blue steel gun in his right hand when he jumped into his blue car and sped away. Witness two saw the same guy. He was standing beside witness one, but he was wearing a blue sweatshirt, got into a green car, and slowly pulled away from the bank. Gun? Well, I don't remember seeing a gun. That's
Of
witness
course,
one and
yes.
witness two. How we, the people, interpret the events as presented to us is what shapes our opinions. Problem is, we're already presented somebody else's opinion. Promotional announcements, let me go on those for a while. Those commercials, that's what they are. Commercials that every TV station produces that says they are number one in the Nielsen ratings. If you were furnished the whole story, here's what you would find. Station A had more females watching between 5:15 and 5:30 p.m., prompting Station A to lay claim they were number one in women. They don't say when. Between 6 and 6:15, Station B could claim they were number one in total viewers during the 6 o'clock news. It gets complicated. Bottom line is, if you tell the same stretched truth over and over and over again as a promotional piece of material, it becomes a fact. In the eyes of the public, that's what it is, and they interpret what they hear. Just as bad with polls. Opinion polls are all over the place, especially when it comes to elections. In close elections, like we've just had, all can claim they were right within that magical margin of error. One big problem, ours.
So.
What to believe, especially where we are today, 2 weeks after the election, with a new again president-elect dominating news coverage. His cabinet nominees are attracting most of the attention of the news folks. Each is looking for the reason to give Donald Trump kudos or grief. Not even one of his picks has universal appeal. They probably never will be. In reality, most newly elected or re-elected presidents get the same treatment, perhaps more today than yesteryear.
Right.
And to make their points about how bad or good a nominee is, the networks will go to individual congressmen, that's U.S. representatives and U.S. senators, they make up Congress, by the way, and find those who will mirror the network's opinions, although they don't claim they have opinions. They will go find a congressman. Okay, I know this guy here, Smith. Oh, yeah, he sees things exactly the way we do. He'll answer our questions and say exactly what we want him to say. And that's what they do. If you don't believe it, why do you see the same people on the same network or the same TV stations time and again and again and again and again? The difference between the news folks for all of the networks and talk radio folks like us is that we don't pretend not to be opinionated. In our case, we really want to know what y'all think, though. If I want to be accurate, being here in the South, we really want to know what all y'all think. If we tend to agree with you, so be it. I can almost always find one or two of your opinions I agree with. I don't care who you are. I don't care which way you lean. Sometimes we may voice our opinions that you may take issue with. I support your right to your opinion and to disagree with us. Most of the time, even if what you suggest is illegal, and I don't try to change your opinion. You may not know whether I agree with you or not. That's the scary thing. Don't take any questions I ask indicative of my leanings or my opinions. I can ask you certain questions. That does not mean that I'm leaning towards whatever answer that I want you to give is. No, I'm not. I want it to spark interest in the show. I want to hear from you. It keeps you lively. It keeps us lively. You can deny it, but I won't. I periodically change my opinions or feelings based upon new information that I get or what I learn about a person. Generally, I don't care what folks did in the past. I want you to understand that. I don't care in most cases what somebody did in the past 20 years ago. It's irrelevant to me at this time.
That's right.
Unless it's an ongoing issue that I have a personal problem with, I don't care. Let's take a look at the men and women, mostly men, that President-elect Trump wants to be on his cabinet. The presidential cabinet generally has 25 people in key support positions. Sometimes a president's choices don't always work out, and they get their walking papers, oftentimes booing to the press corps, hoping to save face by blaming the president, the VP, his father, or whoever, because we all know that they are perfect folks who can do no wrong, have impeccable credentials, and don't run around blabbing every state secret they could under other circumstances. Get them branded as a traitor. If you get up there and you get kicked off of the cabinet for whatever reason, you're not going to tell the whole story. You're going to tell your side of the story.
Yes.
And then you're going to say things about what was going on in behind closed doors about events that are supposed to be state secrets. If you did that while you were serving as a commanding general somewhere, you would be labeled as a traitor.
Well,
Back to the cabinet. Some need to get the approval of a majority of the U.S. Senate. Not everybody. In the cabinet, they do. The Senate decision comes after the new president, once sworn in on January 20th, presents his nominees. Not now. They're not meeting now. They can say whatever they want to. As of this weekend, 12, I think 13, another one has been announced as of last night, of the 25 members have been named. They include Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, Matt Gaetz, Attorney General, Pete Hegseth, Secretary of Defense, Kristi Noem, Homeland Security, John Ratcliffe, CIA Director, Tulsi Gabbard, National Intelligence Director, Lee Zeldin, EPA Director, Elise Stefanik, Ambassador to the United Nations, Robert F. Kennedy, Health and Human Services, Robert Burgum, Department of the Interior, Doug Collins, Veterans Affairs, Chris Wright, Department of Energy, and there's one more, and I forgot who it is. Trump has 12 more to go.
Yeah, I see that press secretary
I saw that.
is.
There are also positions that the president can fill without having to get Senate approval. Obviously, one of those is his running mate, the Vice President, J.D. Vance. A key position is the Chief of Staff, in this case, the lady he credited with his successful election, Susie Wiles. She doesn't need to get Senate approval. One that a lot of us, not necessarily you, and certainly not going to be loved by the drug cartels and smuggling organizations and the illegals inside these United States and those who are trying to get here, a guy named Tom Homan, former border cop.
I can't wait for that one.
Former acting director of immigration and natural, whatever it is. He will serve as Trump's border czar, a job given by Biden to VP Harris, one she failed to every step of the way to do. There are about a dozen others that have already been named appointees that need no approval. Trump's nominees, Matt Gaetz, leads the news stories every day. Not a particular hero among reporters.
Right.
And if we're not being led astray by the news naysayers, is going to have the toughest time getting Senate approval. The other, not exactly sure why, except that he's a journalist and, you know, people on the inside don't like journalists. Pete Hegseth, a popular commentator and an experienced soldier serving in Iraq and Afghanistan, who Trump wants to be his Secretary of Defense, the SecDef, they call him. Does he have the experience for that slot? We actually don't want our military to be militarized by the president and his cabinet. Therefore, here is the mandate for Secretary of Defense. Y'all don't even know this. To ensure civilian control of the military, U.S. law provides that the SecDef cannot have served as an active duty commissioned officer in the military in the preceding 7 years, except for generals and admirals who cannot have served on active duty within the previous 10 years. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Personally, I'm not qualified to decide among the dozen nominees so far to decide their worthiness and whether they have abilities that will benefit and safeguard us, whether Mr. Gates has abilities above and beyond his negatives, whether he has enough positives that offset his negatives
We'll see.
to be in that position. I don't know. I don't know whether he'll be able to convince the senators. I have questions that I hope are asked during the confirmation process.
I have predictions, and that's
I've
all
got
I
predictions.
have.
I kind of think in one case, with a lot of chatter, that a change will be made before it goes before the Senate for approval. I've been wrong before, but I'll also see similar changes.
Okay, the press secretary that Donald Trump has named is Caroline Leavitt. She's 27 years of age. She's currently a spokesperson for Trump's transition, and she would be the youngest ever White House press secretary in history.
Now, that's not a cabinet member. That's an appointee.
That's right.
Okay,
But since we're talking
There
about
are
appointees,
We gotta
yes.
make sure that you understand. Not everybody that the president
I know that,
appoints
yes.
he's hiring somebody. He's not
Right.
appointing them.
You've got his cabinet, and then he's got his other appointees.
yep.
But yeah, added her
He
to
got
the.
hired help, and then he's got the cabinet advisors. Cabinet
Right.
advises him. Of course,
Well-
his chief of staff going to be advising him too, given what she did during the campaign to keep him straight.
You talk about the drama that has surfaced over this election year, and the disrespect that we've seen both sides. But you know, I've learned as I've gotten older, I choose calmness over drama. I don't put my personal stuff on Facebook. That's me. I'm not saying that if you did it, it was wrong. That's you. But I prefer just quiet and calmness. That's like when I was stuck up in the mountains during the hurricane. You didn't see me post crazy stuff, anything.
Because you didn't have a computer.
Well, even after I got back, I
kidding.
didn't because
No, you don't do that.
I just don't do that. It's just not me.
What did I use Facebook for today? Let's in the last 24 hours. How about 36 hours, 48 hours? What about
Stories,
What have I put
yeah.
up there for? What have I
Right.
put up there?
You didn't put anything personal. You put stories. You
Oh,
put some beautiful pictures from the football game Friday night. Those
you.
were awesome.
Yeah, I got some photos. I love
Yes.
to shoot pictures wherever I am. And
Those
football
were so
games are, I
good.
mean, it's just
Right.
fun. Not just the action shots that the news guys have to get. I just like looking around and seeing people, like the one lady had her head wrapped up in a blanket because she was cold and carrying a soft drink in one hand and
Yes.
looked like a pizza in the other hand. I wasn't sure, but she didn't care. She would go
Right.
eat.
That's right.
We do things like that too.
Well, this is
But
something
the
I
other one
live
is I
by.
posted another picture that you missed.
I know the one of the spider.
Yeah.
Oh, I said something this morning. Why you post that?
Because
And
he's
we were-
cute. He's
We were
colorful.
talking about that
Not
right
many
after
people-
we were talking about snakes,
Not many people get up close and
which
personal to a
may
spider
or
like
may
that.
have been the opening of a certain show last night that I found myself picking my feet up off the floor and putting them on the couch,
Mhm.
watching it. And then you start talking about ugh. Anyway, this is my favorite quote. This is what I live by. The older you get, the more you choose calmness over drama and distance over disrespect. You prioritize your peace, mental health, and happiness over everything. Who said that?
Would you pass me the hand grenade, please?
No. Who
Who said
said
that?
that? Who said
I don't
that?
know.
Who said that? Whose quote is that?
Teddy Roosevelt.
Ronald Reagan.
Okay.
And as you get older, and that's the
Some
way I
classic
find myself,
individual.
I don't do drama anymore. I don't want to hear it. Don't want to, all the conspiracy theories. Don't want to hear your conspiracy theories. You have the right to put them out there. I don't have to read them. I don't have to be involved in it. I just want calmness.
My favorite is praise the Lord and pass the ammunition.
Yes. Oh, we have a message from
Uh-oh.
a friend that we met Friday night, Ann Bell. She said,
Oh, yeah.
thank you for the pictures.
Oh, she saw it.
Yeah, she was awesome, wasn't she?
Oh, let me tell you about Ann. She was walking up. I'm glad I had two ladies to my left because I would have been like one of those stalkers or whatever.
Dirty old man.
The dirty old man. And so she's walking up the bleachers, and as she got close to us, right beside me, in fact, I sit near the end so I can get up and move around and get pictures if need be. And then she's got this T-shirt or sweatshirt on. And I said, hey, how you doing? It's kind of rough getting up these stairs these days. I think they made the bleachers steeper.
Yes.
And we went off on a little bit of we need an escalator.
In my calmness, I have found that to be another
We need
issue
an
too.
escalator. And we also,
Yes.
or we could at least do like White Oak's got. We could have a rail going up in the middle. I have to change the bleachers a little bit.
Yeah.
I've got
Very
some saws.
costly.
It's not that costly.
Costly.
Nah. But some of us who like to sit near the top because we get a better view.
Yes.
And so, sometimes the older you get,
She had the coolest shirt on.
She had that sweatshirt on.
And she had pictures of
She had
the
to tell us
different
about it.
Jacksonville football players. And she's like their football mom.
I think there are 9 players she had up there.
I don't
Whatever
remember
it
for
was.
sure.
But anyway, her picture's up, and she's smiling.
Yes.
So
that's whose picture.
can I give away a little trick for you guys who's quit staying over Christmas and Thanksgiving at all your family events, or just people that you're taking a picture of, your wife, your girlfriend, or your boyfriend, or your husband, or whatever,
or both,
or both. Yeah, don't do both of them in the same room at the same time, though. Please, guys, ladies.
If you do send us a picture.
No.
wanna see
Don't
it.
post it by mistake either. But no, seriously, if you want to do something, I did commercial photography for a long time. Still do a little
Yes.
bit, not much. And 400 weddings, for instance, and you're trying to get people in a happy situation to, give you a happy look, right? And all that
Right.
sort of good stuff. And we're doing portraits sometimes, especially business type portraits. The guys don't like to smile. They're looking. Judges, they don't ever like to smile. Some do, but you can get a little bit of a look. And so often when people smile, they go like this and their eyes squint. It's natural. When they
Right.
put on a fake smile, their eyes tend to squint.
As all our kids' pictures in school
There you
growing
go.
up,
That's one.
the high
So,
school, the pictures.
I'm going to give you guys a little trade secret here that I would not have given you when I was doing this for money all the time.
Right.
If you will have this person look at you and just look at you for just a second and say, I want you to say these 2 words the same way, the same inflection that I say them when I get to 3. My camera's not up at the time. I got it down. And I say, well, I'm going to take your picture when you say these 2 words, and I see you saying these 2 words, I hear you saying these 2 words, and I watch your look on your face, in your eyes. And I want you to say, oh, really? The same way, the same tone, the same inflection. On 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, really?
Your eyes stay open. You get a little smile there. This is natural. It's not a fake look. Ding.
Just
You got
say
it.
fried chicken and you'll get the
No.
same look from me.
No, you won't. You fried chicken, you smile and your eyes
Fried
squint.
chicken.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Do it just
really?
like that with the same inflection and the same meaning. Okay, that's enough. That's the last secret I got today, I think.
Last second. Well, it's been quiet this morning. Where are
y'all? Come on.
Where
Theo,
is
you've been elected
everybody?
the man of the week. Chris Barr's nominated you. We've agreed. So it's unanimous. You the man.
Chris called me
We gotta
Friday.
get him
He was
something
so
special.
excited. He kept on and on about how great Theo was. I said, we've been trying to tell you that. Theo is a great person.
Theo-
All our callers are great
Theo,
people.
if you're at home yet, if you're listening, do you play any musical instruments? Do you have anything?
Why?
I just want to know because I got something I'm going to give him. Even if he doesn't play it, he can stick it up on the wall somewhere if he would like.
Well, he's calling right now.
Is he calling right
Yes,
now?
he's calling right now.
The man of the hour.
The man of the hour.
Actually, he's not the man of the hour. He's the man of the week. Good morning, Theo. How are you?
Good morning, deplorables.
Yes, we're deplorable, but you're adorable according to
Listen.
everybody.
In other words, when you commentary says that if I see something, I can't say anything.
I didn't say that.
No, you should say
You sure?
something.
Yeah.
You're sure? So let me ask you something. That mask of President Biden, what did you do to him?
What did I do to him?
I tried to have him take it down.
Why did you do that?
What? Take it down?
No, it's still up.
What did you do to it?
Oh, I put an X over him because he's no longer going to be the president.
He's still the president. Lee, you want to get along, right? You're peaceful and everything.
Get him, Theo.
You let him do that?
I just asked him to take it down. He went and put an
Why
X
didn't
on
you take
it.
it down?
She wanted me to take it down and stomp on it on right
did
here in
not.
front of the cameras. That's
How
what
are
she
we going
wanted
to get
to do.
along? How are we going to get along with the president, still a president, and you did something like that? So do me a favor, Mr. Unaffiliated. I want you to get Trump's. Okay? You get a mask for Trump and put a felon on there. All right? Write felon underneath
We
that.
can put F
And then
one.
we'll be even.
Put a
Then we'll
number
be
on
even.
it.
If I can find a mask for
Okay.
Trump. I don't have a mask. Who brought this in here? Mike?
It
Convicted.
was Mike.
No, thank you.
Yes.
He's a convicted felon. So put his picture over there and put that word under there. Then you'll be a fair person.
You know, if I was going to do something like that, that calls for an opinion, of course. But if I had wanted to do something dramatic like that, I would have put an L over head because I, like so many other people out there, not
But he
me,
didn't lose.
other people would have been calling him a loser, are calling him a loser, and they use the initial L to designate that.
But he
I
didn't
did not
lose.
do that.
Yeah, okay. So what's the big deal?
No, he did not lose. What
He
did he
didn't
lose?
lose.
Huh? Okay.
He didn't lose
So,
it. He didn't
Gain
lose
of
Give me
it.
an opinion. Give me your opinion. Give me your opinion. Are you listening?
I am. Let's go ahead.
All these news stations you were talking about. Did you say anything about Fox News?
Absolutely, I
He
did.
did. He did.
Absolutely.
That Tucker Carlson was a lie, calling it the American station, and he comes out with a lie for all these years that it was stolen, and then they get sued for $700 million, and then he leaves, and he's next to the president.
Oh, he doesn't work there
This
anymore.
is the kind of people. This is the kind of people you want. These are the kind of people you want. Okay, so give me your opinion on these guys, all these people that he elected. Not all of them. Give me at least 5 people. What you think of these people that he elected? Your opinion.
That he's selected to be in a position.
Yeah.
Well, let me hold on a minute. Let me go back to my list here, okay?
Go ahead. Go to the ones that you were listening to all the weekend and you were fed up with. Tell me what you think about these people.
That I was fed up with.
Yeah, the Gates and the other guy and the other
Okay,
girl and the other guy.
you're talking about the nominees, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Matt Gaetz, from everything that I've seen, I've also qualified this. From everything that I've seen, I don't like him, but
No,
I have
not me
questions. I have questions, and he's not my choice, but he is Trump's choice. But I have questions. Marco Rubio, I never did care for him a whole lot, but I think he probably will be a very good Secretary of State. Pete Hegseth, probably one of the most realistic and probably one of the better qualified commentators. He's not just a news guy. He is a journalist. He started that way, but he's probably very well-rounded. Secretary of Defense, maybe or maybe not, but I probably he could be very well. Kristi Noem is Homeland Security. I don't know enough about her to say she'd be good. John Ratcliffe, CIA Director, absolutely. I can't go into it. Tulsi Gabbard, National Intelligence, absolutely. I don't care if she was a Democrat and she switched parties. That's fine. She was a Democrat and she did a good job when she was in Hawaii. She's also been in the military, reserves, I think, and did a great job. Lee Zeldin, EPA Director. I don't care one way or the other. Okay,
that's enough. I got an idea on who you like and don't like. Now, do you think these people should be properly confirmed?
Mm-hmm.
Do I think they should be properly vetted by the Senate?
Vetted,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Every one of them.
What is a good vetting process for you? Is it the FBI that vets them or a private company that vets them? Which one would you have?
Well, the FBI can do the criminal background on them. They can tell you that. They can also, under certain conditions, behind closed doors, give you things that are not public record. Okay, they can do that with the Senate committee, Intelligence Committee, for instance. That's what I would like to see. That would be the first step. Do you take them at face value? No, because Chris, what's his name, FBI director, he's not what the powder and shot take to get him removed from office. And Chris Wray, don't like him. There are other FBI directors that we know about, don't like them, did not like them.
So you favor FBI?
No, that's just the first step. Hold on. That's the first step. They supply information. The Senate should not get its information from one group of individuals. In other words, just my personal opinion of Mark Gates, that doesn't mean crap to me. What I think or what Theo thinks, nothing personal, either one of us. But the senators should not consider that because he's not in a popularity contest. Is he capable of doing the job? Do his pluses to do the job as Attorney General?
Wait. Listen.
Yeah.
Are you agreeing with the vetting or not?
Yes, sir. Absolutely agree with vetting.
So if they're vetting him, they're trying to find out what kind of person this guy is. And they have to bring some of his history in here. When you say, I don't care what he did 20 years, that's why you're vetting these people to see if they're white nationalists and they're thinking that way, and they did a couple of things 20 years ago. You can't say, I don't want to know what they did 20 years ago. You've got to take that stuff in consideration.
No, I don't think that what somebody did let's just say that as a lark at some point in time, of which I did, by the way, a little bit more than a lark, I went to a cross burning with the KKK and the rights of the white people, and a guy named Leroy Gibson and a guy named Glenn Miller, who was, I forgot what that idiot's thing was, but I went to their cross burning right here in Onslow County. I went up close and personal. I'm standing right there with them, dismayed, shocked, ticked off when I was there. But do you think that anybody should hold that against me because I showed up? And I do know that I was on still pictures and for surveillance, because I know the sheriff's office and the FBI were there watching the whole thing from across the street. I know that. I made no bones about it, but I walked right in.
Okay.
Now, if that came back to haunt me, let's say I'm going to run for some public office today, and that picture came back. I'm standing there and there's cross burning. Do you think that should be held against me from 1978-ish, 80, something like that?
If it was an innocent picture, no. But if you was an involvement, then something's got to be done, right? Mm-hmm. Depending on what office you're running and what you did. Even if you were there, you're running for office. Even though you weren't involved, you were there. So what's wrong with it? So if you're innocent, you're innocent.
So if some investigative unit who's got pictures of me standing on a street corner or driving up to a street corner, and I'm obviously who I am, and they got pictures of me buying drugs from a drug dealer on the corner, should that haunt me?
I don't know what you're trying to prove right now. We're trying to say that
pictures do not tell the truth.
Find out what these people have done in their lives because they're taking some big positions. They're going to govern 320 million people, and they're just not anybody. Okay, that's the American way.
I agree.
You're supposed to be vetted by the right people. Okay, so we find out what kind of person you are, and then you get voted on.
So being vetted, does that mean by the news media or does that mean by who?
I didn't say by the news media.
I'm asking
talking about whatever process is for the department you're in, whatever process is, he will have to go through with it. Okay. And my next question was, if these people don't get vetted because he wants a different way of getting them in, would you accept that?
No.
You sure?
The rules say that they will be vetted. They will be. The Senate will have the last say.
Okay, so if they don't get vetted, I expect a commentary on you, right?
Oh, they're going to be vetted. Somebody's going to vet them. I don't know who's going to be vetting them. I don't know what that process is. I do know who has the final say, and that's going to be the Senate, a majority of the senators.
Okay, so that's the story with that. And other than that, it's going to be a nice day today.
Thank you for what you did with our friend last Friday.
Yeah, so you're going to thank me by bringing that Biden's mask down.
That's not thanking you.
I'll take it down, Theo. It creeps me out.
If you want me to call, if you want me to call on a regular basis, you're going to bring that thing down.
Ever since the person who brought
Okay.
that in was wearing it and started sniffing the back of my neck, every time I look at that mask, it creeps me.
And I'm surprised you did that.
I'm
Okay.
not. You shouldn't be
All right?
surprised. We have a
So
lot of
then let me
fun here.
ask you something. In
Yes.
4 years, when your buddy loses, I hope you do the same
He's
thing
not
to
going to
him.
run again. He's
can't,
done.
He can't run again. This is
No, I
it.
just want you to put his head up there and put an X between his eyes.
Oh,
like
I
you
would
did
have-
over there. Okay?
That's over his eyes. It's not between his eyes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, all right. I see it.
I had to
Okay.
look well.
Nice
Wow.
try.
That's a nice try.
All right. Keep up the bad work.
Bye, Theo.
We try, Theo, but
Take care.
thank you for doing what you did for Reese Across America.
Yeah, thank you. That was
No
very
problem.
nice of you. Very nice of you.
Love Theo.
He is a character.
He is. He's not one of a kind, but he's very distinctive.
He is
And-
one of a kind.
Well, everybody's one of a kind.
That's
Except
right.
for twins, and they're almost one of a kind. Not completely.
He brought up you brought up something earlier that we need to
What's that?
delve into a little bit. The story about Leroy Gibson. You know, he was a Jacksonville native and a Marine when he started that.
He's an ex-Marine.
Well, yeah. In his case, he was a Marine at the time.
He was an ex-Marine.
He's
He
ex.
became an exterminator. Did you know that? That's what he was doing here in Rights of the White People. He finally died rotting.
Yeah.
He
What?
had a little running mate called Larry Little.
When you said Leroy Gibson, I said, oh yeah.
Leroy he started an organization that he called the Rights of the White People. The ROWP had flags and everything
Right.
else. Here in Jacksonville, there was a bookstore, and not that I'm a big fan of adult bookstores and everything else, but there was a bookstore on Court Street downtown. The first time I had a direct run in, because I had to go, it went boom one night. Went late one afternoon. I think it was the summertime, because I think I was outside when I heard the explosion all the way from downtown. And you know why they blew it up?
Remind me. I remember the
Because
stories.
they had a black man and a white woman in one of those sultry magazines, if you want to call it, displayed, not that it was one of those X-rated or R-rated or anything pictures, so it could be seen by everybody walking by, but it was displayed for everyone to see with a interracial couple. He took offense at it and he blew it up. Okay, let's go back to some more you don't even know about. Out on 258, not far from the Piggly Wiggly area,
Okay,
there was another bookstore out there.
Yes.
I could also heard that explosion when it
Right.
went boom.
Wow.
I had to go out there too. And then over on Northwoods on Henderson Drive, I don't know the exact block. It wasn't very far from Northwoods Elementary School, opposite side. There was a interracial couple living there, man and woman. The
Yeah.
porch blew up.
Mm.
The only good thing is nobody got hurt in any of these. Down in Wilmington,
Why did
There's
you
a
end up
paper
going to
called-
Wilmington?
because that was the hotbed of activity there, and that's where the Wilmington 10 started out as the
That's
Wilmington
right.
11, but then he
One got blown up.
He went down to Wilmington, and then he went to the black operated newspaper, black owned and operated newspaper, the dadgummit, I'll think of Journal, the Wilmington Journal. It's called. I don't know whether they're still in business or not, but it came out like a weekly paper. And of course, it dealt with the African American situations and all that
Right.
sort of good stuff. Legitimate stories all the way through. He blew that up. Also, down in Wilmington, he didn't just take on African Americans, black people. He didn't like Jews either. Synagogue,
I'm sure.
a synagogue went boom.
I can remember a lot
So
of that
that's
happening.
Leroy Gibson.
Yes. Well, right here, it was just like November 1969. They started passing out cards in the Wilmington area to build support for the
Yeah.
group. Listen to what was on some of these. Okay, the ROWP, Rights of the White People.
Yeah.
10 good reasons why you should be a part of this group. Number 1, Rights of the White People will see that we white people stay white and your children's children. Number 2, the Rights of the White People will do everything in its power to keep your housing area a white one. Number 3, rights of the white people will help you vote good white people into office, low and top, that will look out for our future. Number 4, rights of the white people will vote the top people out of office that want integration and let them live with it. And, and that's only 4 of the 10, but
He's a scum. He was a scumbag.
nutcase,
Nutcase, yeah, but scumbag.
racist.
Unfortunately, at that cross burning that I told you I went to, there were some
Right.
obvious Marines who were there. In those days, a Marine stood out like, you could see a Marine from 400 paces, right?
Right.
Haircut.
Oh, yes.
everything
Yeah,
else
you can
was
look
there.
right at them.
And until they got to be, then it became somewhat popular among the half skinhead people to really look like they were Marines.
Right.
They would get the haircuts and stuff like that. But these were Marines who were there. No doubt, zero doubt. I had the pictures.
Wow. That was a story in itself.
And yes, there were
Sure.
pictures of me in there.
Oh, I want to see these pictures.
I don't have them.
Darn.
They're surveillance pictures.
What a story that
But I
Leroy
had
Gibson was a
But I had
nutcase.
pictures from inside too because
Probably get
I
blown
was
up.
I was
today.
working for somebody else at the time.
Right.
Anyway,
Right.
oh well, whatever.
Wow. That's a whole
One of
nother
our
story.
friends, Glenn Hargett, was there that afternoon.
Really?
I don't think I knew him. Maybe I did at the time, but I saw him across the street.
Well, what year was that? He
70, about 1980, something like
because
that.
he graduated 72. So
Well, he was working WJNC at the time.
yes,
So
I remember
anyway,
that
I
clearly.
saw him over there, and I'm like, okay, really?
Wow.
That everybody was across the street, kind of like they thought big violence was going to happen. First of all, here's the situation: the Klan. There's a bunch of good old boys left over from another era.
Right.
They got double barrel shotguns, and they got cobwebs in the double barrel shotguns.
Oh my
all right,
gosh,
that's their
right.
claim to fame. The Klan's a bunch of losers. A social club, socialist club. But anyway, then you've got the militant organization that Glenn Miller led. And not the band leader.
Right.
Glenn Miller.
Yeah, he's
and those
mentioned in
boys,
this.
and they did at this event too. They had rifles with scopes on them, and they had some of the people on the perimeter, not on the side where the law enforcement was gathered, but around this area. They had them staked out there as sentries. Now, they were carrying rifles, not ARs. They weren't popular at the time. They had their 30-06s and 308s and whatever, but that's what they were carrying. That's the dangerous element of the group. Then there's the rights of the white people, motor mouth. The best thing they could do, and you know what, Leroy Gibson, you know the statement that he made that evening? Because I asked him, because I had met him down in Wilmington. He didn't particularly care for me. I said, Leroy, what are you doing here? You're not the Klan. He says, yeah, but these people don't know how to burn. They don't even know how to have a good cross burning, so they asked me to come out and help them. Really?
Piece of doo-doo.
Really? Oh, come on. Anyway, that's another story. So y'all, I bet you Glenn Hargett, I know Glenn Hargett remembers that day. I don't know that he remembers that he ever saw me there, but that was it. I saw him. I made a note of everybody just in case.
Now, how did Leroy Gibson die?
Finally, of natural causes, and I didn't.
In prison,
and
right?
No, he was out, and I didn't do it.
I
think Larry Little was his half-wit friend who did a lot of the dirty work for him.
I was trying to look it up, see when he died. If he died in prison, and the only shown is
He's dead.
Leroy Gibson from NCIS, and I'm like, oh, he's a fictitious character.
That's Leroy Gibbs.
And well, it kept showing what. That's what I'm saying. Now. This one said Leroy Gibson, and it shows the NCIS, and I'm like, that's not even right.
NCIS had some work to do with him, but not on the cases that were involved. NCIS at the
Wait a
time.
minute. If this is the one, I don't know. It said he died in Jacksonville. I don't.
He died in Jacksonville.
Okay, he was 78 years of age.
Something like that.
He died at his home in Jacksonville.
Yep.
You want to plant a tree at his memory?
Yeah.
No. Okay, well, interesting.
The Marine forecast for the beginning of the week is brought to you by Community Prevention Services of Jacksonville. We hear about stress. We read about it. Some of us experience it. Probably all of us experience it at one time or another. The general diagnosis of stress is, well, I mean, it's far reaching. It's just everywhere. Oh, you've got stress, right? It doesn't affect all of us in the same way. As it is with most any issue, if you're experiencing the signs or symptoms of stress, you need to find out what's causing it, if you can. In some short-term stressful situations, that's usually fairly simple. Okay, you just had a wreck. You're suffering from stress. Could be post-traumatic stress. It could be whatever, but even if you drive by one, that would be post-traumatic stress. Stressful situations like that, watching a loved one going downhill,
Yes.
that's stressful.
Very.
But that will come to an end.
Yes.
If you didn't have the issue and something happened and you suddenly were just beside yourself, wondering what you were going to do to overcome whatever circumstances were causing you concern, that is short-term stress, generally speaking, and it goes away. Long-term stress develops and worsens over time. There may not be a single situation that causes the symptoms you're dealing with. Just because you don't have money to pay the bills this week, that might be stressful, but then all of a sudden you have a roof that blows off that adds to your problems. You have this happen or that happens. All of it builds up, and then you get into a multiple stressful situation.
I'm just moved to the beach.
It can be a snowball effect
Oh, yes.
with the end result not knowing what to tackle first. Which fire do I put out first? You're not alone. It's not as uncommon as you might think. It's likely time to reach out, though, to help you handle the stress. First, reach out to somebody. Help is available right here in Jacksonville. Community Prevention Services, they have counselors who really want to help people like you with your issues. While they may not be able to provide solutions to completely eliminate your problems, the sources of your stress, they can help you work through the effects those problems are having on you. Chances are, once you can learn to cope with the effects, you'll be able, with the assistance of your counselor, to work on ways to correct or eliminate, in some cases, the problems that are causing the stress. Does any of that make any sense?
Yes, it does.
Think about it. It makes a lot of sense. Community Prevention Services of Jacksonville, they're at 918 Henderson Drive. Call today to set up an appointment. No need to put it off any longer. We got the holidays coming on, another stressful time. Why don't you just get some preventative help? Don't put it off any longer. 910-353-0972. 910-353-0972. Offshore for the first part of this glorious week, much better than last week. Winds out of the west 10 to 15 knots today. Seas only 2 to 3 feet. 3-foot waves from the southwest every 4 seconds. That'll be a little bit choppy in the inlets, but it is doable if your boat's sound and you have experience. Sounds and rivers of moderate chop. Tomorrow, it's going to be better. Northwesterly winds around 5 knots, becoming westerly in the afternoon. Seas only about 2 feet. Sounds and rivers flat, increasing to a light chop in the afternoon. Wednesday, southwesterly winds 5 to 10, increasing to 10 to 15 in the afternoon. 2 to 3 footers. Sounds and rivers a light chop, increasing to a moderate chop in the afternoon.
And today is mostly sunny with a high near 72. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 45. Tuesday, patchy fog before 9 a.m., partly sunny with a high near 71. And Wednesday, a 50% chance of showers, mostly cloudy with a high near 70.
I saw where one person who promised that if Trump wins, I'm going to leave the country. Well, she's leaving the country. Well, she was leaving the country anyway because her husband and kids are living somewhere else and have been. She was a star on one of those TV shows, reality shows or whatever. I forgot which one. But it's been almost 2 weeks now since the historic election, the election of our lifetime,
Yes.
the election of the century.
I would say yes to that. Yes.
Came in like a lion, sending Americans far and wide, booking charter flights, entire ocean liners, heading for countries with better ways of life, right?
Bye-bye.
They were in search of places where they had more freedom from government oppression, countries where racism did not exist, where everyone could make the same amount of money as everyone else in their new chosen land, where everyone got the same quality of health care, where there was no crime, no need for anyone to install massive alarm systems, employ private security firms to patrol their neighborhoods, and of course, a land where the government took care of them so they could surrender their guns willingly. Government-controlled elections guaranteed to be free, they said. So free that the same president had been in office 30, 40 years, always winning the free elections by a landslide. Sometimes turns out that 100% of the citizens voted for him. Just imagine that.
Does it even seem like it's all over with?
No, it's just beginning.
I mean, the whole year leading up to this last election was absolutely insane. Amy Davis. It's just absolutely insane. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's over with. I still don't get it.
We got insanity to the left of me. Well, I'm not talking about you. To the right of me, I'm talking about the wall.
I'll take it.
We got insanity everywhere. Good morning. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Edward?
Doing fine.
Fine,
Here. What's
how are
going
you?
on? I almost called you Amy.
Well, that's what came up.
Well, I got something to say about these people that have this Trump derangement syndrome, and they saying they're going to leave the country. And I just came in after I heard Theo a little bit, so I'm kind of late. But my question is, why don't they have a problem with their own party, being the Democratic Party, with the way they don't even give them a choice on a candidate? They just say, here's who you're going to have. And even when they run a primary, they use the super PAC to push who they want, not who their voters want. Why don't they complain to the Democratic Party for getting Trump elected in 2016 when they had a candidate that would have beat him, but they didn't want him because he wouldn't kiss the ring? They put Hillary up. 2020, they had Tulsi Gabbard in the primary. She could have beat him. They suppressed her because she wouldn't kiss the ring. And then they have no problem with all of these links that they'll go to. They don't care who they hurt, who they kill. I don't care what anybody says. They targeted certain areas in the election to cheat it in 2020. They did it. I believe they helped bring COVID-19 in to get Trump out, because of the links that they've gone to trying to take him off ballots before the primary. They were trying to just keep, it's ridiculous. And now they have no problem. I haven't heard anybody say anything about Joe Biden authorizing those long-range American-made missiles into Russia over the weekend.
Yeah, I'm just going to talk about that too.
He's purposely trying to start World War III so that when Trump comes in, he has a big war to deal with. I don't understand these people. They have a serious mental problem.
You know, I'm not sure. I'm going to make an assumption here. You can say yay, nay, or none of my business. You voted Republican. I don't know whether you are Republican or not, but you voted Republican.
No, I'm registered independent.
Okay, you and me. But so I'm assuming then that you voted for a Republican, i.e. Trump, in the election, right? Based upon your comments.
In the presidential election, yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's what that's the one we're talking about. So I'm not sure what your beef is. Can you imagine if Biden had bailed out back when he should have bailed out, back at least in January of this year, where the Democrats would have had a choice to find somebody with enough strength to beat Trump again? I think you ought to thank these people, the Democrat National Committee, for doing that. If you are that big of a Trump supporter, don't you? I'm being facetious. You understand that, right?
Well, yeah, of course, yes, of course. I mean, I love benefiting off of their own stupidity, but if they would just listen to their voter, they wouldn't have these issues.
They would
not. That party has become like almost like a dictatorship. It's like I don't know how a Democratic voter stays in that party without having a choice, because they don't get choices. They are told, hey, you walk this line, and they're like a bunch of Scientologists. You walk this line, if you don't walk it, and if you steer from it and you ask any questions, you're out of here. They ostracized Tulsi Gabbard. That's just what they do.
And she got out of there too, didn't she?
Yeah, there's no freedom in that party at all.
Well, I think you found that it was a small group that was controlling the Democratic
That's usually
Party.
the way it is. Adolf Hitler started with a small group.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
They were the ones that were controlling everything, but I think the people spoke this time.
Mm-hmm.
No, I believe
People are
they
tired of it. Tired of it. Everyone's tired of it.
Well, I think we could label Biden and the Democrat National Committee, not the people, not the Democrat voters out there, but we could label Mr. Biden and the small DNC that there is out there as the great dividers in this country.
They are, and I agree with you. I have no problem with the Democratic voter. I actually feel sorry for them, because they're so loyal to that party and they have no choices, and a lot of them are minorities in the party. And I mean, you had a man back in the 60s warning them, hey, that liberal is the most dangerous thing in the Western Hemisphere. And that's an exact quote from Malcolm X. But I mean, they'd rather get their political advice from, Beyonce and Lizzo and Jay-Z and Puff Daddy.
Oh, special.
But they were all paid. That's just it. You see, now I will say, in Trump's defense, he brought in people that supported him. They weren't high paid actors. He didn't pay for them to come in and say, I support you. But yet, Kamala did. I mean, she paid Harpo Productions $1 million to go on to Oprah's show.
Actually, it's coming out that it's more than that now.
Well, I'm just going by what I saw in her finances.
Yeah, in the finances.
Right,
but there's more money that was paid.
Because there's still another quarter left to come out. So that, and then paying money to have, what is it, your dad, my dad show, whatever it is, to instead of flying out there, she flew him in, and they converted a hotel room to look like his set.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
They don't talk to their voters. They talk at their voters, and they tell them how to feel and what to feel. And it's just a shame that some people lack critical thinking and can't just see it for themselves.
Yeah,
it's a shame.
Okay, how do you think let's just put your got your crystal ball out there? I want you to look into it, stare into it for just a minute. Let's talk about after January 20th. Let's go for up to July 1, halfway through the year, 1st of July. What is it going to look like? What's the footprint going to look like? Well, where are we going to be? Are we going to be in a war? Are we going to be?
That's what it's looking like to me.
Yeah, you think so? With Ukraine? I mean, because of Ukraine and whatever.
Yep.
Are they setting this up now to throw it into Trump's lap?
Yeah.
I think they're doing that, and they're also probably trying to escalate it so that no investigations can go into all the reasonable bull crap that happened years ago. So,
yeah. Well, I think we haven't talked about the missiles yet. Yes, I cannot imagine over the weekend when.
But he's done nothing all along.
Right.
So why all of a sudden, right before a new president comes in? I mean,
this was not his decision. He doesn't make decisions. So who made this call?
Oh, that's true.
Who made this
that
call?
would be Obey Me. President Obey Me.
You think so?
He's been running. Oh, I know so. If you can't. Once Trump left in 2020, we went right back to the way it was when Obama was running the country. Gas shot up, division everywhere. And if Kamala would have won, he'd have got another 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows what's going to happen come July? I'm hoping to see, gas back down to around $2 a gallon, maybe lower. Looking forward to seeing what he's going to do with these taxes for the young people that are, like waiting tables. He's trying to give them a chance to get some money in their pocket to get homes. I'd like to see what's going to happen with these insurance, not the interest rates on the home loans. I mean, they were up, 10%?
All of those are great things to ask for on whatever. But, when, again, when you go to the grocery store, we get a great deal on turkeys, but as long as we spend $35 on overpriced products, right?
I don't think those prices are ever going to come down, because once they get them there, they're going to keep them there.
Well, what's the excuse going to be when the price of gas and the price of diesel fuel come down? Because that's the only thing that they're counting on right now. I'm not seeing any farmers saying that we're not getting any of that extra money from the food chains, the stores that are having to either spend that money somewhere, or somehow it's costing them more, they say, to get the product to the shelves, whether it's groceries or whether it's goods in Walmart or whatever. All of those prices have gone way up. Well, skyrocketed, I think is a word that a lot of folks are using. I have to use it because, I saw it. I see it every time I go in there. 2 weeks ago, when I ran out of butter. Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
When I went in to buy a pound of butter, 4 stupid little sticks of butter.
Let me bring up, I used bleach. I could get a gallon of bleach, like the store name, for $2.50. Do you know it was $5.99?
Oh, Lord of mercy.
$5.99 for the same gallon.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
That means
If you want Clorox, it's over $6.
Yes.
I'm going to have a problem then cleaning up the blood, won't I?
They did the same thing with lumber when lumber shot up.
Yeah.
Yes.
The guys out there bringing the trees to the mill were getting the same price, and then they're selling it at Lowe's for.
I know.
So, there is some corporate greed out there, but they just use all that stuff as an excuse to do it.
Well, I'll be anxious to see when the price of gasoline comes down, if the percentage-wise, the price of food products come down and the price of goods at the stores come down. If it doesn't come down, then we will know where the culprit is. We'll know who it is, and we'll know who to blame.
It's nice to be able to say when gas comes down.
Well, I think it is.
It's going to come down. It's nice to be able to say that.
Yeah, well, I'm reasonably sure, because if nothing else, the fear is going to be there. Now, let's go back to Ukraine and all the missiles that we got and given them, and we continue to give them. Made in the USA is going to end up in some Russian village somewhere. Okay, that's where it's going to be. They're going to be civilians that are going to be killed. We're going to be blamed for it. What then? Do we stop giving aid to Ukraine? Or is this what we should have been doing all along, is encouraging them to go up against Russia, because they had them on the run and they're still on the run? That Ukrainian force, with all of the supplies and the support that it's gotten from people all over the world, from other countries, that support has caused Ukraine to be a powerhouse.
Yes.
Now, is this something we really want to have over there against Russia? I got no problem with that. But I know we need to rein some controls over them. We certainly don't want to be supplying them with my tax dollar supplied missiles. What are we going to use?
The problem is, and who was pushing for Ukraine to join NATO? Right?
Well, the United States.
So there was a deal made.
They can't.
When the deal was made after World War, was it II?
Yeah.
That they wouldn't advance NATO lines any closer to Russia, and that was the agreement. And they have the right to not want NATO at their doorstep. I wouldn't want a communist country bordering my country.
Like Canada and Mexico. Do we want them being the communist countries?
Let's say they said we're joining the communist nation. The United States is going to go to war with them immediately.
Yep.
Right? So that's all Putin did, was they broke the treaty. Now they're trying to put the NATO line right at the border of Russia, and they have every right to defend themselves.
Uh-huh.
Because how many times has Russia been invaded right through Ukraine?
Yeah.
They don't have any natural barriers. There's no mountains. There's nothing blocking an army from just waltzing in.
That's right.
So, I mean, everybody, when it's all kicked off, everybody was saying, oh, Putin's horrible and he's this and that. And I try to look at things through an objective lens.
Well, he's kind of kept Russia under control, has he not? Kept them from launching missiles into the United States or bombing us with nuclear stuff, right?
Yeah, and what's funny to me is that Canada has gone so far left that the conservatives in Canada are moving to Russia.
Oh, wow. I haven't heard of that one.
So,
Wow.
There's a lot of Canadians going to Russia because Russia's not this. I've seen YouTube videos of people that have gone over there because they have these. They want to have like their a farm basically and live off grid, and they're Christian conservatives and stuff. And Russia's welcoming them in and treating them great, leaving them alone. They're not, they're not being threatened with armies or nothing. And so, yeah, look into it. There's a lot of conservative Canadians going to Russia.
Yeah. I haven't seen that, but I will take a look at that. I certainly am not going to be one of those conservatives going to Russia for any. I probably will not survive the first day.
Regardless of who the president is, USA is the best place in the world to live.
It is. And what's sad is when that assassination attempt on Trump happened, the one that was on TV.
Yes.
There was people saying, oh, I wish he'd have got hit.
Oh, I heard that.
And I don't like Joe Biden. I don't like Barack Obama, any of them.
But he's the president.
That's right.
If one of the ways a human them was to get their brains blown out on TV, and I saw it, it would haunt me.
Of course.
It wouldn't matter if it was Trump, Biden, Obama, Hillary Clinton. It wouldn't matter. But for somebody, there's a lot of people out there that are, oh, how did he miss? And just disgusting,
Yeah, it is.
I agree with you.
For people to say things like that. And you know what? I found it disgusting on 9/11 when the cameras in some of those other nations in the Middle East, when they were getting video and shipping it back. We were seeing live pictures of people chanting, down with America, down with America. They were cheering the attack on this country on 9/11. They were cheering it. That made me sick. That made me sick. I said things then I should not have said, and I wished things then that I should not have wished.
Right.
Sometimes we'd be better off if what I wish had come true, but no. But the same token, why would we? I can understand me feeling that way on that day, having Americanism about me, but why would anybody in this country cheer that the president of this country, regardless of party affiliation, would be assassinated, would be shot?
Right.
That is an attack on America. That's not just an attack on an individual. That's an attack on every one of us in this country, just as 9/11 was.
Well, it's just like I have said in the past. Even though I didn't vote for Biden, I didn't vote for Obama, they were presidents. When they came on television at night time to do State of the Union, I was right there watching.
This is my president.
Because it's still my president. Yeah. And I've had people tell me, I'm not going to watch. I didn't vote for them. But don't you want to know what's going on in your nation? Don't you want to know what your leader is getting ready to do?
Let's just put it this way. Even if you are one of those, that's my enemy. Don't you want to know your enemy? Don't you want to know what that person's up to next?
He's talking about the state of the nation.
Yes.
That's important.
Well, all of that is. So
Good Lord.
Whatever. We appreciate your call.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yep,
Thank
y'all
you.
Have a good one.
You too.
And we appreciate all the folks out there who'd like to call and talk. And
yes.
We welcome you.
I certainly do.
I think we had another caller at the same time earlier. By the way, the device is en route, and I have checked the stuff today that will allow us to start answering the phone calls as they come in on both lines.
Right.
And you won't be able to talk at the same time yet, but sometime or another we'll have some of you maybe who will be able to ask our guests or ask another caller a question or two.
Yes.
We're not going to do that where you guys are going to get in here and bicker with each other.
Right.
Caller 1 and caller 2, we're not going to put you up against each other. That's not fair. You call in here, you expect to talk with us.
Might
You don't
get
ex-
exciting.
You don't expect to be bombarded by.
It might get
another
real
caller, right?
exciting. Yes. Okay. 2443. I know that number. Let's see.
2443. She knows you by your number. She
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
know you by
Jennifer.
your name. Hey, Jennifer. How you doing,
Jennifer.
cuz?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm doing good. I just wanted to call in and tap in on something that you mentioned just a few minutes ago. You were talking about the groceries, the price of groceries,
Yes.
and that if the price of fuel goes down, then it's nowhere to look for.
Uh-huh.
But I told Terry is if the price of the fuel comes down, you still, if the groceries stay high, you got to look beyond your grocers. You got to look beyond your actual grocery stores. Look at their distributors. You got to
all
look
of
at
that.
the big dogs.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and I say that from somebody that was an assistant manager in a grocery store for 17 years.
Yes, you know.
I've looked at those invoices, and I know that honest to God, grocery stores a nickel and dime business. They're not making, if they're selling butter for $5, I promise you, they're not making $2.50 on that butter.
Wow.
They might be making a quarter, 75 cents.
Uh-huh.
No more than $1. I promise you that. And if you see a grocery store that's got those really good deals, like Pepsi products are on a really, really good sale,
That leader
9
items.
times out of 10, they're losing money on every one they sell because that's calling cards to get them in. They want them to get in and shop.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Was it 3 years or 4 years ago? I could buy, because then I was drinking a lot of Mountain Dew. I could buy 4 bottles of Mountain Dew, 4 bottles of Mountain Dew for $3 and change. Because you could buy them on special now for leader items.
Mm-hmm.
That were less than $1 a bottle. Normally, they were running $1.25 a bottle. You could get 4 for $5 as a normal price at that time. Now it's $2 a piece on special.
It's crazy.
It's $2.50 a
But see,
piece.
I
It's 2 for $5.
Yeah, see, I drink Diet Mountain Dew.
Uh-huh.
If I ever fall out, just pour either that or a cup of coffee down my throat. Don't worry about the ambulance. It's either Diet Mountain Dew or coffee. That'll bring you right back. But Terry checks all the local grocery stores up here to see who's got Diet Mountain Dews on the best price. Now, a 6-pack of 16, 20 ounce, what I think the 20 ounce screw-on bottles. I mean, the regular price on them near about anywhere is $5 or $6. I mean, they're on up there. Ingles, which is a wonderful grocery store, but now Ingles is pricey. Ingles is bougie. We don't
Bougie.
shop normally at Ingles. Ingles has 3 6-packs of Diet Mountain Dews, 3 of them, for $8.98 if you used your Ingles card.
I don't have an
Your
Ingles
value
card. Could you go buy me some and ship it to me?
But you're not going to tell me that what is the normal price on the shelf is $6 or $7, and they're going to sell 3 of them for $8.98. They're losing money. Now they're going to make it up on the tail end. So that's a calling card to get people in there.
Unless they're making a lot of money when they sell it at the regular price.
Well, regardless, it's still, and they don't. And see, I don't know how it works up here, but I know over there, those Pepsi and Coke ads, they were set months in advance.
Oh, yes.
I mean, they knew who Pepsi was going to be on sale these
Well,
weeks, you know.
and then they swap it off. Pepsi 1 week and Coke 2 weeks later, or
Right.
vice versa.
Right.
Yeah,
right,
I know how
right.
it works.
Yeah. But and that's on your stuff that's coming straight from Pepsi. See, that's different than your stuff that's coming from MDI or Nash Finch or one of those. But go above the grocery store. So don't blame my Piggly Wiggly if your butter's high. Blame who they're getting it from.
Uh-huh.
And then
Piggly Wiggly.
Piggly Wiggly and Richland.
Right.
That's the best one. That's the true one.
Okay.
Piggly Wiggly and Richland.
You worked
But anyway,
there. I
I
know
don't want-
that.
That's right.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
I did. I worked there many a year. That's where I was working. Terry had a stroke.
You probably never
I'm
knew
not
it, but
sure.
I guarantee you there's a gentleman there that calls us on a regular basis, Theo.
Yes.
He visits there on a regular basis. You probably
Oh,
saw
really?
him and never knew it.
I probably didn't. I can remember seeing Uncle Herschel and Aunt Marguerite. They were on their way back from a doctor's appointment or something.
Wherever.
And
they would stop in.
and they would stop in. Yep, sure was. So yeah, everybody goes to the pig and Richland.
Mhm.
But anywho, that was just my 2 cents on the butter.
Mhm.
And when you find it on sale, buy it and put it in the freezer. That's
Yes,
what I
sirree. That's what I do. Absolutely.
You
Take
too.
care. Yeah, butter, I get a decent price on it, which at the big box store where I buy it is generally
Right.
the same price.
Right.
Except I wish I'd bought about a ton of it because it went from $8 to $14 for
It's
a
just
4-pack. What?
It's gotten ridiculous.
Really?
I went yesterday and I told you I got the turkey normally would have cost $68.
Yep,
and I
I
paid
saw
a
the
little
picture.
over $6, which was a great deal. And then I always try to look for those BOGOs, something that I might eat.
Buy
like-
one, get one,
get
for
one, yeah.
half price or nothing.
So yeah, and then I got some of my favorite coffee, buy one, get one
Uh-huh.
free. So that's half price both. Only problem is they only had 2 boxes left. And I wish I could have gotten more.
Ooh, you're in trouble.
But do you know, I bought very little meat. I bought some sandwich meat. I bought a very small little pork tenderloin that would only feed one person. It was very small.
Well, there goes your friends.
And and I think, and I bought some sausage, and I think that was the only meat I bought. I bought
Well,
very
it's
little
hunting season.
dairy.
You don't have to worry about it. Squirrels, deer, rabbit.
No, I'm still traumatized by the squirrel when I was little. But
Ah.
I mean, just the rest of the stuff was like paper towels, paper products, cleaning products, laundry
Why do you
detergent.
use paper towels so much
Laundry-
and napkins, paper
Detergent.
napkins?
Well,
Why can't you wash the stuff? Kind of like diapers. Why can't you just go?
I
and
don't
wash all that
normally use paper towels. I use regular towels,
stuff? Uh-huh.
but they're convenient if you're microwaving something
Mhm.
or you need to drain the fat off your bacon, stuff
Uh-huh.
like that. Because 6 rolls will last me months. But all that, my order was $256.
Oh, wow.
I bought cat food and dog food, but most everything
Well,
I
that
bought.
was half of it then.
No,
What are the
actually,
prices these days?
yeah, true,
Oh,
true.
Lord.
But I got, and what I was buying for a family. My gosh.
Suppose you were making $10 an hour,
Seriously.
$400 a week before taxes,
Just,
and
it's
withholdings.
unreal. It is unreal.
and you had to drive 20 miles each way every day to get there.
It's hard on everyone now these days. And I just hope that come 2025 is going to look up to be a better year for everyone. We'll be able to afford gas to go on a trip. I've been on one vacation in the last 2-3 years, and of course that went awry real quick. So, I would like to go somewhere and do something.
Well, can't do it. By the way,
Right.
Kelly is out today, in case y'all didn't notice. We
Yes.
forgot
She's a little under the weather. She's
remiss
gonna be
is
fine.
That she had an experience again out of town.
She needs to stay.
Somebody's telling us that we need to stay at home.
Mhm. At least stay away from the western part of North Carolina because it just seems to just jinx us.
Yeah, next year, hopefully, next fall, that the western part of North Carolina will be recovered enough to
Yes.
to really have a nice comeback for all the visitors
I
who
would
will
love-
not be able to get there.
I would love to try again to go.
If they do that, that would be one of the things that I want. I want to go there. I want to go back up to Maine,
Yes.
and in the fall, right around the early part of October, Columbus Day would be a great time because I've been there on
Right.
Columbus Day one time before, and everything closed down except for a couple of locations, and the prices were better.
Well,
it was the end of the season.
I would still like to go, but I'm going to this time schedule it for non-hurricane season and non-snow season.
Well,
so.
the problem with that is, for me, going to the mountains, I want to go there mid-October because that's when the colors change.
Well, I tried, and
Yeah, I know.
but it's just something that happened. But I mainly want to go up there and visit my granddaughter's college and spend
Well,
some time with
if you
her.
go back up there again at that time and it happens again, you ain't going no more.
Yeah,
They're not going to let you. They will,
Yeah.
We are banning Lee.
And Kelly went towards the western part of the state over the
And she
weekend,
got
and she got sick. So get
Something's
well,
in the
Kelly.
air. Something's in the air,
I'm telling
Kelly.
you.
Well, hopefully she'll be recovered in the next day or two.
Yes.
So she can get her buns back in here and do some work.
Right.
That's what we want. Okay. Just kidding, Kelly. Tomorrow coming up.
We have Samantha Withrow. She is with the Department of Social Services. She's going to be talking about the Elder Cheer program that's
Elder
going on right
Cheer.
now. Elder Cheer.
I'm elderly.
This is
so
for Christmas.
I need some cheer at Christmas.
Right.
I don't want that cheer wine stuff either. It's
But Miss Samantha's
nasty.
going to be in with us, and we're going to talk about that program.
Good.
And looks like Onslow Be the Light is doing extremely well. But just
what?
Be the Light.
Be the light.
Yes, we had April in here a couple of weeks ago
Right.
talking about the gift giving and asking people to donate, and it looks like they're doing really good, but they're still needing more. So
Mm-hmm.
keep a watch on that. We have a lot of people at Christmas time that have absolutely no one or
I
nothing.
know. That's what we need to look out for. And really,
Yes.
instead of buying, there are people out there who will look down their so-called Christmas list and say, "Oh God, I didn't get a gift for. I need." And I'm not guilty of, but I've had people that were guilty of it,
Mhm.
including my mother, would always buy extra generic gifts
Yeah, that's nice.
just in
yes.
case somebody came over.
Right, right.
So she had something to give.
Those were the
people.
days. Those were what people
Well,
were just
Why do you?
God,
Why do
there's
you
so much
feel
better.
like you have to give somebody a gift?
because it's your giving nature. It's your giving nature. If
Does it mean anything when you do that?
it means to the person giving,
because you didn't think of it in advance. You're just
I
covering your bases.
disagree.
Oh no, you just forgot. You didn't. They weren't worthy enough of you to make a note of it.
Oh,
So-
but sometimes people come up unexpected. Maybe somebody you have not seen in years.
okay, so then, did you give them a gift last year?
Bah humbug on you.
No, seriously. Save it and either for yourself or something for the future or for wreaths across America.
I always say
Salvation Army over there, they're ringing the bells already, and
Right.
stop by there.
which we need to have Royce come on and
Yeah,
talk
we do.
about that.
And
Well,
I stopped with my change the other day. I forgot which store it was in, but they're coming out. There they were. I didn't have the change going in, and I hope they understand
I
that.
thought about it late last night, but it was too late to call him. But I'll call him when I.
It's never too late to call Royce.
It's late. Look, the man's on so many councils and committees
It's all
or whatever.
right.
Give him a break.
Late at night, he's not anywhere. He's at home available.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
just kidding, Royce.
You call him late at night.
Oh,
then.
I don't, if I'm up, everybody's up.
That's the truth.
That's my motto.
3:00 in the morning, the Skype goes off. Ding, 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 ding. Rayford's up.
Well,
Oh, that reminds
because
me.
we were supposed to be changing the clocks and y'all didn't think I would do it.
Well, no, I stayed up purposely just so I could see if you were up.
And I was.
And he was.
Okay.
All right.
We'll see you in the morning. Y'all
All right.
have a great
Have a
rest
great
of your
day.
day. Be blessed and be safe. And don't do anything that, well, forget about that part.
Yeah, don't even
Don't
go
do
there.
it. Okay. Whatever it is, I've probably tried it or done it, and you don't want to be doing it because
Just
it's
have
already
a
been
great
tried.
day and we'll see
Have
you
a good day.
tomorrow.
We'll see you in the morning. Bye.